In a world of unopened collectors lurks a mystery that has dated back for centuries. Two men from the same region, both Mets fans, and both have an unquenchable thirst for unopened 70s and 80s material. Is this just a mere coincidence? Or are they the same person? We've seen the names on the forums. We've even heard and seen one of the faces from time to time. But today, we move one step closer to solving the biggest mystery in the hobby. Is Mike Tim? And is Tim Mike? This is Hobby Talk. Hello, hobby friends, and welcome to today's episode of Hobby Talk. My name is David Baez, and in today's episode, we have a special guest. He is one of the most influential and important collectors in the world of unopened sports card and has been a tremendous help for collectors at all levels, and that includes yours truly right here. So with that being said, let's welcome Tim Monaghan to today's episode of Hobby Talk. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man? It's a pleasure to be here finally.
Man, I am super stoked you decided to join this and have this conversation with me, man. This is cool.
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
You won't be able to see Mike during the course of this interview as he will not be available.
Well, I'm trying to help you guys prove that you are, that Tim is Mike and Mike is Tim. Or maybe not, right?
Mike is inaccessible at the moment, so I'm here to address any issues and concerns you may have.
We're gonna have to do like a 3-person interview one day and just Oh, that's great. So let's start off too with to me it's always awesome to hear everyone's beginnings. What got you into the world of cards, baseball cards? How did you begin in the hobby, and what were your collecting years and focuses?
Well, I've always been a big baseball fan, and I grew up in Queens and was a big Mets fan during the mid to late 1970s, which wasn't exactly a great period for the Mets as a franchise, but Tom
That's true
Seaver was
fanhood right there.
yeah, Tom Seaver was still in his heyday at that time. He was still with the Mets until that fateful day in 1977. But I grew up watching the Mets, and I was a big Jerry Grody fan, as many of my friends are aware of. Jerry Grody was my favorite player growing up, actually, only because someone bought me a Jerry Grody jersey at a young age.
Cool.
So I guess my earliest memory of uh, baseball cards was 1975. I do remember when at that time, I was living in Ridgewood, New York, and I remember, collecting or, getting baseball cards anytime my mother, would allow me to buy a pack or two, and we'd play this game where with another kid, you would put down your cards one after another, and as soon as the other guy had a card that matched the bottom color of the other card, you would scoop up the pile, and that's how we used to, gamble, like playing with baseball cards.
That's awesome.
Just with that great, colorful 1975 set. I can still remember when the pile would get, a little tall, and you'd put down a card and match the bottom color of that previous card and scoop up the pile. So that's my first memory of baseball cards, and I can recall uh, going to a toy store around the corner from my home, and they had rack packs there. Of course, I didn't know really what rack packs were at that time, but they would be hanging up on the peg, and I do remember those. I didn't really start buying my own baseball cards though until 1981. I want to say is probably the first year that I had my own money. You know, I started delivering the New York Post,
All right.
and I would take the money I made from my paper route, and uh, I remember buying, you know, wax and cello packs, which were the most common forms of unopened back then.
Right.
I also remember clearly buying those stickers that came in a pack of 4 or 5, and you'd buy an album, and the stickers would, you know, go into the album. Each sticker would correspond with a slot in the album, and certain stickers for the All Stars I remember were silver and gold, and you still see those around. The 1981 Tops sticker packs. I think there were maybe 4 stickers in a pack, and unlike everything else, those seem to be you know, pretty modestly priced these days.
Yeah.
But you know, I can remember you know, going into department stores like Woolworths and McCrory's, or you know, in Queens, New York, and you know, searching through cello packs for, you know, packs with Mets players on top, and you
Yeah.
know, it was a lot of fun. I can still remember the gum that was like, you know, big thing then, just to put as many pieces of gum as you could fit into your mouth, and you know, just sort through baseball cards. And I one memory I do have is that it was 1982, following the 1981 season in the NFL. There was a playoff game. I know it was in Cincinnati. I'm pretty sure it was the Chargers and the Bengals. It was called the Ice Bowl, or Ice Bowl 2, after the one in Green Bay
In
with the
Green Bay, yeah.
Cowboys. And it was like minus 25 degrees. And I remember watching that game. And during the game, I had purchased an entire box, a wax box of 1982 Tops baseball. And so it was like, what was it, 25 cents a pack then, I believe, or
Hmm.
30 cents, actually, maybe even 35 cents, but, or 30, whatever it was. It was, you know, about 11 bucks, which, you know, was a pretty expensive
Yeah.
purchase for a 13-year-old kid. But you know, I bought that wax box because that was when the packs were first released that year, and by Tops. It was, you know, early in '82, so that was in January, and I opened the entire wax box during that NFL playoff game, and of course, I wasn't looking for Cal Ripken rookies, but
You were looking
or Ken
you were
Herbeck
looking for
rookies.
you were
Or
looking for like Lee Mazzilli, right?
yeah, I was looking for like you know, Joel Youngblood, or I'm not sure if George Foster was a Met in the '82 set. That was his first year as a Met, though. There wasn't much star power in Queens
No.
during that era, but yeah, I do remember sorting the cards, and you know, that's one long-lasting memory I have of 1982 Tops, which is kind of outside my focus as an unopened collector. I do collect up to 1983, but mainly just full boxes from 81 through 83. Whereas, you know, 1970s and 1980, I, you know, collect individual packs.
Single
So,
packs, yeah.
and then, you know, as I get in my teenage years, I pretty much stopped collecting, like, you know, many others. You know, I kind of lost interest in cards in general, and was still a big sports fan, but not so much for baseball cards. And then pretty much didn't get back into the hobby until I discovered eBay, which was in, I believe it was in 1999, 2000. And I found eBay, and that was when I first got internet, actually. And I was just blown away by this virtual marketplace where you could find all of these different things. And it was just sensory overload, and amazing. I actually started out at that time, was focused more on coins than cards. But after a while, I started seeing, you know, baseball cards, and it rekindled that that interest I had in baseball cards as a kid. And I can't really remember why I started buying unopened packs. I just probably just liked the historical aspect of it, buying packs in their original form, from the factory. And because I was pretty much an unopened collector from that point forward, even though I have also collected single cards too. But unopened has always been my primary focus. And from 2000 or so forward, it's pretty much a daily adventure for me. Searching eBay and looking online, and there not a day goes by that I'm not, perusing auction listings or packs and different things that I've been able to find over the years. And prices, of course, have increased so markedly in the last 10 years. But
Yeah.
for a while you could amass a pretty impressive 1970s collection for a fairly reasonable price. But times
Yeah.
have changed, but I still have the same passion for unopened collecting as I did then when prices were lower. It's just I can't afford to buy as much.
Yeah, yeah, I think you speak for for a lot of us, buddy. Yeah, I it's so funny, right? Because I remember when I first got into the hobby, how I would look at the prices and I'm like, oh my God, these prices are insane. Eventually it's going to level off or come back down. And then I look at those prices back then and I'm like, are you kidding me? I could have bought a 70, a box of 75 for a couple $100. And then
Yeah.
look at it now, right?
Speaking of one of your favorite 1978
Yes.
cello boxes, I can remember buying them routinely for like $350 for a box of 24 packs,
At a zero
less than
now.
$15 a pack. Now you can't even buy more than three for that price now.
Yeah, yeah.
Just incredible. I used to think, I remember seeing auctions or listings where a 78 cello box would be listed for $525. And I'd say, wow, that's pretty steep. Not gonna, I'm gonna pass on that one. I wish I could go
Now,
back in time.
now, if one of us were to post a 78 box for $525, what would you? I think that would break the Tim Monaghan record at sold,
It
sold,
would.
sold.
It certainly would. The internet wouldn't even allow that listing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's not, it's funny because it's not that long ago when prices were, around that figure.
Yeah,
I remember I can look, I mean, you can look back if you are a baseball card exchange, customer with a customer ID number. You can look back at your old invoices
yeah,
through the years. And sometimes I look back and 2007, 2008, Steve Hart was selling a 79 cello box for, $300,
yeah.
1975 cello pack for 75, $80. It's just incredible.
It's crazy you say that, Tim. I kid you not. I was doing a little cleanup today, and I came across a box I have, with a handful of BBC wrapped 81 Fleer, and like again, it was already at that point where 70s were getting a little pricey, and I looked at the receipt, and I had paid a whopping like $27 a box for
Yeah.
like 10 81 Fleer
Yeah.
boxes. Yeah. Right
Yep.
now, I mean, not that they've gone up crazy, but relatively speaking, right? I mean, I think right now
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
like 150.
percentage wise, they've gone up markedly. I mean,
Yeah.
80, 82, 82 Dunruss, even as recently as, what was it, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we had that case break on the PSA forums, and boxes from a sealed case. I believe they were like $110 or so, if that. And
Yeah.
now those boxes sell for $300, and
Easy.
that's
Yeah.
only maybe 18 months ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It's
just
it's crazy, and
incredible.
and it's still going up. I mean, even the rip that even the break that me and you just did a couple months ago. I bought those oh god, the 83 Fask. They were like 480, I think it was a box.
Yeah, the Dunruss,
Yeah.
right? Dunruss wax
Yeah,
boxes.
they were like 40,
Yeah,
they were
those were
480.
375 during the break.
Actually, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
now they're like what, 600?
They already went up to like 550,
Yeah, they were
$600.
375 for us. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I see one's listed right now in REA, and it's not even from a sealed case, and it's above that number,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
crazy
it's
stuff,
pretty
buddy.
amazing.
It
I
is.
think there's a lot of new blood in that aspect of the hobby. 15, 20 years ago, the unopened niche was smaller. I think now, due to the advent of pack breaking and things of that nature, it's kind of introduced a completely new clientele
Yeah. Yeah.
into that part of the hobby. And it's like that old saying, the a rising tide, lifts all boats. And I think that is certainly the case with unopened, because you have a lot of people that are entering that part of the hobby that have money to spend, and they're looking to spend it and to recapture some of those memories. And also the pack breaking too. The pack breaking is definitely you know uh, affected prices, because stuff is getting ripped, and the prices per pack or per card from the pack are often at a pretty high premium. So that's kind of inflated the value of some of this stuff to a certain extent, or at
Yeah.
least made um, you know seemingly expensive boxes and packs more affordable. And ripping packs was always a money losing proposition. You very rarely came out ahead, as you well know.
Yeah.
um, and I've ripped more than my fair share of packs that I'd want to even acknowledge. And but it's fun, and I liked it also for the research aspect, because I could test my theories about different sheet collation and things
Right.
of that nature, with inside the packs. It's the
Yeah.
best way to discover that information is to actually open the packs.
Yeah.
And but now, for the pack breakers at least, ripping has become profitable. So it's a completely different landscape
Yeah.
as far as opening packs is concerned. It's you know now you no longer lose money when you buy packs to rip, if you are hosting a pack breaking
Yeah.
platform.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's I think, whether you love it or hate it, the base has increased exponentially, and the main reason why is exactly what you just noted. It's the pack breaking, section of the unopened hobby. I think that piece of the hobby has brought up such a huge base, from because it was a really when you and Mike kind of grabbed my hand and brought me into the unopened hobby. It was a small group, man. It was when I was meeting all you
Yeah,
guys in the forums, I was like, it was really a tight group.
yeah. Mike was the angel on one shoulder telling you, don't rip our friends on packs, and I was the other guy, the devil, saying, "Don't worry, you can rip a few packs, have fun." But I've become even more Mikey over the last few years with the
Mikey.
prices the way they are now.
Well, it makes sense given that you guys are the same person, that it would be like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
That's right. We have we've come full circle.
I will
the
say that.
the integration is complete.
I will say this, Tim, and I've said this before, but I wanted to say it here in the interview again, that you and Mike were absolutely instrumental for me, in not only getting into the hobby but understanding it. And I don't know how many times you guys saved me from getting completely hosed on fake packs and all that, when I would send you a message and you're like, no, no, stay away from that one, stay away from that one. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I know you guys were like
I,
amazing. It was very, very,
I
very helpful.
appreciate you saying that. It's very kind of you to say, and it was a pleasure. And I'm always happy to share any information I can. And there's one of the best parts about this hobby, in addition to the cards and the packs themselves, is is the people that you come across and form friendships with, and such a great group of guys that
Yeah.
support and share information with. It's a great
I
experience.
totally agree. I've dabbled in other hobbies, as you well know, but the group in Unopened is probably the one that I've just enjoyed, conversations with, and I mean, even these interviews, it's just
Yeah,
been a lot of fun talking to you guys, and
yeah, I agree.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, the card forums are always friendlier venue, and when I venture over to the coin forums on the PCGS side of CU, those guys can be a little more cantankerous. they're, they're
Uh,
helpful too, but they don't smile while doing it.
yeah, there you go. Oh man. So let me ask you, what's your favorite year in terms of unopened? What's your favorite year to collect and why?
um, that's a tough question because I really love all forms of 1970s unopened. But I would have to say, if I had to pick a year, it would have to be 1975. That's just, my first, as I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
it's the first year I can recall handling cards, baseball cards. And, it's also my primary focus as a card collector. Many of you know that I have always been a 1975 mini collector, and I have a set that I've put together in large part from packs I ripped open years ago, back when a mini wax pack was 25 bucks from the baseball card exchange.
Yeah.
um, so 75 would have to be my choice,
Yeah.
and also the design of the set itself with the colorful borders, and
Yeah.
the George Brett and Yount rookie. You got so many rookies in that
Yeah.
set, multiple Hall of Famers, even some uh, very good players with rookie cards like Keith Hernandez, so Fred
Yeah.
Lynn. So yeah, I mean, 1975 is my choice, and also probably the year for which I have the most of unopened wise, in terms of rack and cello and wax too.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so when I interviewed Mike, we were talking about just 75s in general are just an amazing set. For everything you just mentioned, and the tail end of some legendary Hall of Famers like Hank Aaron that are still in that set, and just
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
you have so many like
Harmon
awesome.
Killebrew
Yeah.
for we wouldn't want to forget him. Kurt's idol.
That's right. Yeah, it's just a great set, and I just thought it was also cool that it was the first time I think that you can say that Topps had like a mainstream variation in their product where they had minis versus regular. I mean, they always had like things like stamps and
Yeah,
coins and other stuff, but that's more like oddball and at least for me. I think like an actual
right, right.
variation of the card, that was like I think their first full-fledged attempt. And I think it's
Yeah, because the mini set, mirrored the regular size set, so
right.
it was a true offering for that particular issue,
Yeah.
instead of a subset or oddball type set. Aside from the size, the cards are identical. So
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah, it
that's
was cool.
very true.
It was cool stuff. So, let me ask you this. I mean, as and we should definitely, if you're up for it, I'd love to see a little bit of, if you have anything to share with us. But before we do that, I want to ask you, what's the one unopened? Because I know you have a great collection. I've seen some of it. It's amazing, right? So, what's the one unopened product that you're finding, you find to be the hardest to find lately?
Lately,
Yeah.
well, I'm always searching for 1971 cello packs, but who isn't,
So
you know?
that's
Um,
well, that's a pretty
I
hard
mean,
one.
in terms of in terms of scarcity, that's probably right up there. Out of
Yeah,
the mainstream options of wax, rack, and cello, in my opinion, 1971 cellos are the toughest.
yeah,
71 racks are, very valuable, but not especially hard to find. You can usually find a few coming up for auction during the course of the year.
hmm
Wax packs too, but cello packs seem especially scarce.
I know there's a box in
So I would
Iowa
say
somewhere.
1971 cello box. Yeah. Well, if you're looking for wax boxes, you might find one there, but not a cello box. In fact, to reflect the difficulty in acquiring 71 cellos, uh, the farm in Iowa has a full box of wax packs and multiple 71 racks, but only one, as far as I know, 1971 cello, which he finally um, acquired last spring. So that gives you an idea of just how difficult it is to
Yeah,
find a legit 71 cello. And this is, again, talking about legitimate cellos, not, the so-called grocery cellos, which are not authentic.
yeah, yeah. That's another unfortunate part of this whole thing is especially as they balloon in price. I would think the '70s product is continuing. You're continuing to find this product out there, fakes, and fortunately for guys like yourself and some of the other guys in the group, pretty good at sniffing them out and putting the red flags out there, not to spend our hard-earned money on a fake.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's unfortunately as the values increase so significantly over time, the level of fraud is, bound to also increase. And
oh yeah,
not that there wasn't tremendous amount of fraud even before this run up, but with prices the way they are now, it's even greater concern than ever.
yeah, yeah, I agree. So Tim, I wanted to ask, would you be all right with showing myself and the viewers a couple of your awesome, collection there?
Yeah, sure. Do a little flip here
All right.
on the camera.
This is going to be where he opens up and realizes, oh my God, I had a 71 cello box after all.
No, I don't think I'll be that fortunate. But here, as you can see, this is one of those vault cases which um, Mike actually introduced these to me back when a guy named Dave Kleppel was designing them on the CU forums, and they're perfectly designed for the storage of packs, PSA graded packs,
Yeah,
and they're really the cases themselves are very sturdy. So I finally bought a couple, and um,
I love this. It's like perfect. You know how we're seeing the Monaghan vault with a vault case.
yeah, the vault case. So here you'll be able to see, I think,
Yep.
um, the the insert is I got this actually custom made cut by the company that produces the case
That's awesome.
itself, and
Yeah.
you can submit to them the dimensions for each row, and they'll cut the foam. It's fairly sturdy foam, and um, they'll pre-cut it for you so that each row will accommodate nice and snug
Right.
the PSA graded packs. So let's see here. So the first one we have right here is this is
Oh
a
man, right out of the gate.
this is this is a 1971
Oh,
OPG wax pack. And what's notable about this pack is that um, it's one of the rarer versions with the red graphic
Yeah, I was gonna
on
say
the
it's much more colorful than what I've seen in on 71s.
yeah, it's usually you see them with the yellow graphic on the bottom right corner.
Right.
This is a fourth series pack, which is also the Noel and Ryan series, and the those packs are notable for the red graphic on the bottom right corner. So the last time I looked, there were only three of these in the pop report. Uh, that may now have changed as I haven't looked lately, but this one eight and the other, there's another PSA 8, which is owned by Tom Salem, or at least he had that one. He might have sold it through his website,
Yeah.
opgbaseball.com, which, by the way, I recommend Tom Salem. He's a great guy. I've known him for many years, and
Yeah,
I've
Tom's a nice guy.
dealt with him as a buyer and as a seller, too. I've sold packs to him as well, and he's always been a pleasure to deal with on both sides of the transaction. But he had the other PSA 8, which actually had a sequential cert number on the flip. And then the third pack is the PSA 9, which I actually do have also. That one I just graded within the last year. So
Wow.
I have this 8 and then also a 9. So, so
Don't
this
be
is like
don't be surprised if you get private messages once I air this.
yeah, I think I'm not sure I'd ever sell this pack, but when you ask me what's my favorite year, 1971 is pretty high up on the list too.
Yeah,
So this is one of my favorite packs. So
that's
um,
awesome.
let's move that over here. So the next one, all right. So this is the more commonly found
Yeah.
1971 OPC wax pack with the yellow graphic. Series is not noted on this flip, but these are typically early series packs. This is a mint 9.
Mhm.
So this is nice. You can see there's a nice clean seal on the back.
Yeah, that's
And
beautiful.
71 OPG is not as rare as tops and not as valuable, but I think it's an undervalued uh, pack and set. OPG in general, I find is undervalued,
I agree.
not just the packs, but also the cards, only because not as many people are willing to collect them, because they're Canadian version of tops. But
Yeah.
I've always loved them. I've always been a big fan of OPG unopened and also cards too. I have a couple of sets on the registry, 73 and 78. Um, so I've always liked them,
Yeah.
but even these have really exploded in value. I can remember buying 71 OPG packs for like $150, and I used to open a couple of them too. And I still remember I did pull a Pop One PSA 10 out of a 71 OPG pack. I can't
Wow.
remember who it was, but it was years ago, and I sold it. But that was pretty cool. And one of
Yeah.
the few times where I came out ahead after
Yeah.
opening a pack. Um, all
Yeah,
right, so let's see the
it's
next
like it's
one in
just a
this
gambler's
row.
mentality, right? It's like we remember all the wins, but we forget all the
Yeah, you
losses.
remember the wins, but you don't remember the losses. So this one is another 71 OPG 9. I guess these are going to be in chronological order. So okay, this one is a top. So this is a tough pack, um, a tops baseball wax
Awesome.
pack 1971 PSA 7. This is a third series pack, and this was actually originally in a GAI 7.5 holder that I purchased years ago, I believe from Steve directly.
Hmm.
And then about a year or so ago, I decided to cross it over the PSA, and it crossed over to PSA 7, which was I was very happy about. I didn't mind losing the half point on the grade. So,
Yeah.
and it's a nice looking 7 too. So, the fear about wax packs always is the post holdering damage to the
Yeah.
wrapper from sliding gum. So I try not to move these around, too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to keep them intact and tear free.
Yeah,
So
they're like a knife.
um,
That's happened to me with a couple 78s.
yeah, exactly. So let's see. I'll just skip around a little bit too. But this is a nice pack, though. This was also a GAI pack originally. It's a 1972 Topps baseball wax pack with Hank Aaron
Oh wow.
face out on the back of the pack, and
Wow.
Hank Aaron in action face out. And this is a PSA 8.
That's
I'm not
awesome.
sure, probably can't see it through the plastic, but
Yeah.
the card is faced out. Hank Aaron in action, which is a cool card of him, I believe, chugging into second base or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Let's skip ahead here.
You have an awesome collection where you can just grab one at random and it's it's a jaw-dropping pack no matter what.
Here's
When
one that
hey, Tim,
I've
when I
always
do that,
loved.
I get 88
73.
tops big, by the way.
Well, the vast majority of these packs were acquired during much leaner times in terms of value. Nowadays, I would be priced out of the ballpark. But
Yeah.
this here is a 73 OPG wax pack. 1973 OPG is one of my favorite issues, and I used to rip quite a few of these packs as our vintage packs forum member Terry Brooks will attest. I used to buy quite a few packs from him. He had boxes of these, and I don't even want to state publicly what the price was. I don't want to upset him any further, but suffice to say, they were a fraction of what they cost now.
Yeah.
And this is a PSA 9 OPG 1973 pack, which the all 1973 OPG packs are all series packs, meaning each card in the set is possible. 1973 tops were released in series, although at the tail end of the year, as many of you know, they did produce all series wax packs for tops too.
Yeah.
And those are pretty tough to find, actually. And those are notable for this red graphic here on the wrapper on the tops version, which states all 660 cards available in one series. So
Very cool.
and maybe these are a little bit too tight.
Hey Tim, if you have
Hold
a
on,
paper and pencil ready,
I
I
gotta
have an order.
I gotta put the phone down for a second here. 1 second.
I'd like to place an order, please.
All right, it kind of jammed in here. All right, well, let's skip that row. I literally did not look at these before I
That's your
came down
52
here,
tops
so
row. It's always a little tighter.
yeah. So, all right, let's take a look at this. This one, we'll move to cellos now. This is 1980 Topps baseball.
There we go.
Steve Carlton on top,
Yeah,
and this is a, PSA 10. So that's kind of a cool pack.
that's awesome.
As most of these packs I've submitted myself to PSA, including this one. It's a cool pack. This is actually the second, at least the second, maybe even the third PSA 10 1980 cello that I've submitted with Steve Carlton on top. I don't know why, but I've had multiple Steve Carlton cellos from 1980 that have been in really nice condition, and this one is a 10. The
That's
other 10 I sold some time ago. Here's one, Evan Miller, please look away. This is a PSA 9 1980 cello with Pete Rose on top.
very
And
nice.
one of my favorite packs. 1980 cellos are interesting in the sense that there are two variations for these cellos, and depending on the type of wrap, the collation is different. With these packs, which are tightly wrapped 1980 cellos, um, the first half or top half of the pack consists of cards from the low letter sheets A, B, and C, with the bottom half consisting of cards from the high letter sheets D, E, and F. So if you're going to find a cello with Steve Carlton or Pete Rose on top, or for that matter, Ricky Henderson, who's from the B sheet, that pack should be a tightly wrapped pack, not one of the loosely wrapped ones. The loosely wrapped packs from 1980 have the cards from the high letter sheets on the top half, D, E, and F, and A, B, and C cards on the bottom half. So the
Oh,
collation
that's
is
interesting.
reversed
Yeah.
in the sense of how the packs were put together at the factory, and it's really interesting in the sense that the wrap itself determines the collation of the cards within the pack. So
Right.
and this is a good example right here. This is a pack with Reggie Jackson on top. Reggie's from the D sheet. So in this case, Reggie's on top because unlike the Rose pack, you probably can't really tell in this picture, but
Yeah,
the
I mean, but
seal on back of
you can
the,
see it. It's a little
maybe you
bit
can see
wrinkled.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like a loosely wrapped 1980 cello,
Yeah.
whereas this one is more like a 1970 cello
Yeah.
with the tighter wrap. So
Yeah. Interesting.
um, yeah,
I learn something new every time I
here's
talk to
one
you,
that
buddy.
Kurt did. Here's one for Kurt Christensen. This is a 1975 mini cello with Harmon Killebrew on top.
Oh man.
Um, and that's one of my favorites. I've sold a few 73 70s cellos to Kurt with Killebrew on top, including a 73, which I don't know why I did that. Um, and then, and the, and also a 75 regular sized. Um, the regular size one, I still have another one, but 73, that was a tough one. But anyway, this one is a mini, and we were talking earlier about which is my favorite year or issue, and 1975 minis are probably my favorite. And Killebrew on top of this pack, and he's also got a twin too. Here, there's another one, 89 as well.
Oh, awesome.
And let's see what else, if we got any notable. Oh, here's a pack for Dan Youngblood. This is a PSA 10, 1975 mini
Nice.
cello with the Yankees team card on top, featuring manager Bill Verdon. This is right before the Yankee, the Bronx Zoo era with Billy Martin. Verdon was the manager back then, and that's a really nice pack too. I do like the team cards. I also like the checklist too, and I think I do have a checklist. Yeah, right here you can see there's a checklist on top.
Nice.
PSA 8, 75 mini, and cello. So team cards and checklists I really enjoy.
The checklist is a guaranteed way to get the names of several Hall of Famers in one card on the top.
Yes, absolutely. That's right. Oh, here's one of my favorites. PSA, well, this is a 5. I should have a 9 here somewhere. But I do have a 75 mini cello with Hank Aaron on top.
Wow.
And actually, all right, well, we'll show this one. This is a 5, actually.
Mhm.
It's due to a tear in the cellophane on the side of the pack.
Okay.
But the pack otherwise displays really nicely, and the centering on the Hank Aaron is really
Yeah,
great.
that's top notch.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's, it's not a, I mean, it's a portrait card. It's not a very exciting action shot, but I've always liked that card of Hank Aaron. It's the last card of the set, and it's always appealed to me. I
Yeah.
remember when I was a kid back in the early '80s, around 81, 82, when I started getting my own money to buy cards. There was a baseball card shop around the corner from St. Matthias, where I went to grammar school, and my friend and I used to go in there and look through the binders. When I look back now, I realize this guy was kind of ahead of his time, because this was like 1981,
Yeah.
and he had this baseball card comic shop, and we'd go in there and go through the binders and pick out cards and buy them. I still have a 1964 Topps Pete Rose card that I bought from that store back in 1981,
That's
and
awesome.
I've kept it raw all these years, but one day I'll submit it. It's probably a 6 or 7. It's not a mint card, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Ooh, what do
this
we
is
got
for
there?
Calvin Arnold. This is a 1980 cello PSA 9 with Dave Winfield on top.
Very nice.
And this one I think you can see the wrap is loose.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this is, somebody, I don't know who's on the back of that one, a veteran player, but I didn't note it on the flip, so it probably wasn't anyone significant. Um, let's see.
Man, this is awesome.
Oh, here's George Brett on top. He's from the D sheet, so this is a loosely wrapped 1980 cello. Also, one of my favorite cards. I've always liked the All-Star cards
Yeah,
from this era. 1980 with the right below the player name, and pretty much every year, I've liked that Topps would designate the All-Star cards, and I've often, thought about doing a collection of subset, collection for different
try to get as many as
All-Star,
the All-Star cards,
cards.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a 79 cello with Ozzie Smith on the back.
Oh,
Ozzie Smith is from the A sheet. So on a 79 cello, unless the collation is reversed, Ozzie should be on back. And he is on back of this pack that I submitted to PSA a number of years ago.
that's
So,
awesome. That's on my someday to
yeah.
buy list.
Yeah, back to, actually, I got this pack I bought a 1979 cello pack, a cello box rather, from eBay. And this pack was one of the packs in the box.
Wow.
So, when you buy a raw box, you're not always going to get a cherry picked one. Sometimes you get really good star packs
Yeah.
doesn't have to be from a sealed case to get a star pack,
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's definitely murky waters though too. I mean, as you well know.
Yeah. I mean, these days, because of and that was a number of years ago before
Yeah.
star packs really took off like they
Right.
compared to now. But from a sealed case, definitely is worth a significant premium when it comes to cello or rack boxes, because that way the box is not being cherry picked.
Yeah. Is that a Ricky you just pulled out there?
Yeah. So this is from Mark Wiles,
Nice.
and this is a PSA 9 1980 cello with Ricky Henderson
That's awesome.
on top. And this is one I also self-submitted to PSA. It's a tightly wrapped pack.
Yeah.
Let's see who's on back here. John
I'm a much
John
big,
Fulgham is on back.
I'm a much bigger
So,
fan of the tight pack versus the loose.
yeah, they do present a little nicer.
Yeah.
Certainly cleaner. A lot of the 1980 loosely wrapped cellos also typically or often have gum dust under the wrapper too.
That's right.
Whereas the tight packs are usually cleaner.
That's my biggest gripe with my 81s, for instance. I have a lot of them that
Yeah,
have that issue.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and here's another cool pack. This is a 1975
Ooh,
mini cello with Gary Carter's rookie on top
very nice.
and Dave Winfield on the back. And this is a PSA 9. This is a pack I also self-submitted to PSA years ago, and two Hall of Famers on either side, including the Carter rookie on top. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, that's a great
And
one.
and then for all you collation conspiracy theorists, here's a 1975 mini cello PSA 9 with Steve Carlton on back. And we all know who might be also in this pack, but I won't tempt fate and
Spoiler
find
alert.
out.
Oh, that's funny.
So there's
That's some
I'll
great.
switch back around here.
Yeah, got some great stuff. Thanks for sharing, Tim.
Thanks, Dave. Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, that's
My
cool.
pleasure.
I mean, every time I interview guys like yourself and some of the other ones I've done in the last 2 months, I look back at my collection and say, I got some work to do.
Well, it's all good. I mean, I enjoy 1980 and as much as 1971. So,
Yeah,
unopened is the great thing about this hobby is there are so many different ways to collect, and you don't need a big budget to acquire a really
yeah.
impressive, collection of packs.
Yeah, well,
And
well said. And it's obviously I was I'm joking aside, I love watching and the pictures you guys post and even these interviews where I get to see some of the collections that you guys have. It's just awesome stuff, and to see it preserved in its original format is like golden for me. I love it.
Yeah, the packaging, that's what really appeals to me. I've always loved history. One of the other things I collect are vintage negatives of survey photographs from different parts of New York City and the five boroughs. And the reason for that is I love to that portal of looking back in time, looking through that portal
Yeah,
back at another era. And for me, unopened captures some of that. Just seeing the cards in their original form with the product code information and the pricing and packaging. It just takes you right back to that era. And you know, as many people know, I love wax trays. For me, it's uh, a way to acquire packs from a sealed case, so to speak.
mhm.
Even though they're not in the box, they have not been touched, since they left the factory. And so one of the reasons I love wax trays is that the packs are untouched, and the backs are not have not been looked at. So if there are stars on the back, um, that you won't know unless you open the rip the cellophane.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, the PSA 8 1980 wax back that I have with Ricky Henderson face out on back was pulled from a wax tray that I opened because the cello was torn. So I figured, well, let me just open this up. And one of the packs had Ricky face out
Wow.
on back. Another one that I opened had uh, Eddie Murray on back. So
Wow.
a 78 tray. So,
Wow.
the wax
You
trays
should play the lottery,
can
man.
contain. I know. Well, I would love to say those were the only trays I've opened, but I probably went through about 15 or 20 trays from each year to get each of those packs.
Yeah, that's
Back
right.
then, though, 1980 wax trays, they used to be $30, believe it or not.
I know. Add a zero.
Back when
Add a
I was
zero
buying
now,
them.
right?
I know, at least. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
So one of the things I especially liked when I do open a wax tray, when you open the when you tear off that cellophane, if you hold the packs up to your nose and inhale, you will capture that scent of bubblegum. And it'll, those of you who collected during the 70s and the 80s will understand this. You will you will be able to recapture that sense of collecting baseball cards back then, because the cellophane does a great job at preserving the aroma of the gum. And
Really?
I've always loved doing that. My
That's
wife would
cool.
look at me and think that I'm a nut job, but I would inhale the scent of the gum, and
I,
it was like intoxicating, you know?
that's cool. That's like the wine connoisseur that sniffs it before they drink
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Because when you open the single packs, for some reason, it doesn't. The preservation of the gum inside the pack in an individual pack is not the same. But if you open a wax tray and it was stored decently through the years, that is, without any mold or moisture, you will get that scent that'll plunge you right back to 1980. I guarantee it.
That's very cool. And now I'm tempted.
If you have one with tears, go ahead. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? The premium for the tray is not really that significant anymore. I mean, we were saying, wax trays are expensive now, but even at 300 bucks for a 1980 tray, if you took the three packs out of the tray
Yeah.
and you graded them, a PSA 8 1980 wax pack like 150 bucks now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you actually would make money opening the tray if the packs are going to grade PSA 8. Of course, the amount of money you'd make on that is less now that the cost of grading 1980 packs is $40 instead of 14.
Yeah.
But it's still a break even at least
Yeah.
if you are, and if you're lucky to get a PSA 9 from 1980, that pack will be worth more than the entire tray itself.
Yeah.
So not that
They're
I'm encouraging people to open up their 1980 wax trays, um, but there is a benefit from a financial standpoint of doing so if the packs in the tray are higher end in good condition. And you never know, you might find one with Nolan Ryan or Ricky Henderson face out on back.
that's true. Yeah, I have a feeling though those trays are about like a year or two removed from like exploding. Seriously, to like 500 plus. That's just my take.
Yeah, I mean, you would think because there was always a premium for the tray because of its scarcity.
Yeah.
And that is true for trays when you get back past 1978, 1977 and earlier. The trays are just so scarce that there is a huge premium for the tray itself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would never even consider opening a 1975 tray, which I have a couple of those, or a 74 tray,
Yeah, those are
because
very
the
scarce.
premium is huge.
Yeah.
But 1979 is probably the most commonly found tray, and those, I think they go for maybe like 250 bucks. They actually are worth less than 1980 trays,
Yeah.
and so I guess that would probably be the one to open. But
Yeah.
the value of graded packs from 1979 in higher grade is also less than 1980. So 80 is probably still the one that makes more sense to open.
Yeah.
Um,
I
because
think
even a PSA 9 79 tops pack is probably about $175 or so,
yeah. I'm
whereas a
thinking I'm thinking
1980
right
PSA
now
9
though.
is worth more.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I'm thinking right now you're almost signing yourself up for a Hobby Talk Live episode where you're gonna rip an 80s an 80
Yeah,
wax tray.
I have a couple here. I mean, I actually did open one not too long ago. I bought a lot of three on eBay, and one of them was pretty badly torn. So I decided just to rip it open, and I got three really nice, clean packs
Nice.
out of the tray, but no stars. Um,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Even
that's
commons are going for a lot right now. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So and uh, I think there's even the wax racks, which are worth maybe a little less than trays.
Yeah.
But on those, you can see the back of the pack through the clear cellophane wrap. So
Yeah.
those don't have the same element of mystery that trays do.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer trays, because those are truly, from a sealed case, in that you can't search the backs of the packs for star cards.
Yeah. So Tim, this has been a lot of fun. I do want to ask you before we sign off here, a final fun question that I ask everyone. Are you up for a quick
Sure.
question here? All
Oh
right.
yeah, sure.
You might know this one already, and I'm not letting you off the hook. So
This sounds like a loaded question.
so if you had to give up that entire collection of yours, that beautiful collection you
Yeah.
have, and all that stuff we haven't seen yet, all of it except
Right.
for one item, what would it be and why?
One item.
That's it.
Wow,
The
that's a
whole thing's
really
got to
tough
go.
question.
Everything's got to go except for
Well,
one.
when you say one item, do you mean one pack or one box or
I'll say
one
I'll say
case?
item, and I'll say that it has to be unopened. One unopened item. It could be a
Okay.
box, it could be a cello, it could be
Well, if it's an individual pack, I mean, obviously, I would take a 1975 rack box. That would be my number one box.
okay.
Um, but if it was a single pack, um, I would have to say I think my favorite pack is wow, that's a really tough question. I'm
If you need to
I
go
have
grab
a
a beer
few
real
of them.
quick.
It's very hard for me to narrow it down to one pack, and I'm like kind of a pack rat collector, no pun intended, because like some guys will just are content with one pack from each year, or one pack with a particular player on top, and I will continue to collect multiple packs even if they're identical. I'll I cannot stop my compulsion when it comes to unopened. But if I had to pick one and narrow it down, I would say my favorite individual pack would have to be my PSA 8 1973 cello, um, with Thurman Munson on the top and Reggie Jackson on the back.
That's awesome. Wow.
I would say that pack would be my number one pack.
That's a cool pack.
Not
I,
in terms of, you know, degree of difficulty or value or anything like that. It's just that I like that pack because 73 is one of my favorite years for cellos. And, the Red Munson combination, even though I'm not a Yankee fan, I did grow up in the whole Bronx Zoo thing when, Munson and Reggie were known to not be terribly fond of one another. So that pack with those two players bookending it,
yeah.
that would have to be my favorite pack in terms of, you know,
Yeah.
its
That's
impact
awesome.
on me.
That's a really cool one. So
But that's a tough question. Tomorrow I might have a different answer.
you
A
know what?
1972 rack pack with Willie Mays on back, that's up there too.
Oh man. Oof. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm gonna do. If you agree to do a future interview with me, I'm gonna ask you the same exact question.
Oh yeah, I will. Of course. It's amazing how quick. Oh my God, it's 8:32. I
Yeah.
thought I would struggle to fill a half hour, but I guess
And here
I'm
we
a
are.
little
And here we are an hour
I'm
later.
I'm a, I guess I'm a little more verbose than I thought,
Yeah. No, well, Tim, I can't thank you enough for this. This is great. And like I said before, the virtual doors are always open to future, interviews. And if you want to
Oh
show more of
yeah,
your collection,
absolutely.
I would
This
love
was
it.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Same
I'm
here.
I'm I'm happy to participate. I think your site is terrific. You've done a tremendous job. Um, even my wife, who's not a card collector at all, she was really impressed by the layout, design, and the content in your site. So
I
I
appreciate
think,
it.
your appeal is even beyond the core group of unopened guys. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate that, Tim, and it's the love of the hobby, and just like I said, I really really enjoy doing this. I truly enjoy just spending some time talking with my buddies, my friends, on all this hobby related stuff, and learning new things too on hobbies I never even play with. You've seen I've done some things outside of the world of cards, and it's all of it's just
Yeah.
to me it's
Yeah,
all the same. There's a lot of passion in the hobbyist, and there's a lot to learn, and there's great stories behind it. So it's been a lot of fun, really. So
I agree. Very
yeah,
much so. Yeah, collect a couple of different things, as you know, too, and coins and vintage bottles, blob top bottles from the late
that's all.
19th century. And I'm pretty
That's
much a
awesome.
sucker for anything that has historical value to it. The unopened version of coins, which are original bank wrapped rolls of
Yes,
silver dimes and quarters, half dollars. I love those.
that's
So,
great.
you know,
You know what? It would have been
that's right
great,
in my
Tim. We should have done the
wheelhouse.
episode one of Tim Monaghan, and just have like you talk only about the bottles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's bottles of, they have a lot of history too. And, bottles back then, they were not disposable like they are now. And
Yeah.
they're kind of works of art. I know that sounds, probably the card people are thinking that sounds ridiculous, but I find it really
No,
fascinating and
I
appealing
totally agree
from
with
a
you.
historical standpoint.
I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Thanks again,
and I
buddy.
and I collect old newspapers too.
Do
Daily
you?
News is from the, yeah, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and up.
Wow.
I have one signed by Hank Aaron, um, that right after he broke um, the record for home runs.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
also, I have one signed by Tom. Oh yeah, I should show this to Mike, or I'll show this to myself one day. I have a Daily News when Seaver won his 300th game. He autographed the back cover of the New York Daily News.
Wow. Oh God, I have to see that one.
Yeah, I have to dig those out. Those are, I don't
That-
know where they are. They're in storage somewhere,
that's awesome.
but in newspaper bags, so they're preserved.
Oh man. So yeah, we're definitely doing another episode, Tim.
Yes, absolutely. I'll have a few more things handy then too.
Cool, cool. Well, great stuff. And yeah, we'll talk soon here.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks again for inviting me.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Please click on the like and subscribe button. Just a couple quick updates. We are officially live on iTunes, Google, as well as Spotify for our podcast. Go to HobbyNetworkGroup.com for more details and links. Thanks for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye.